Welcome to Disaffected, the show that talks about politics, culture, and relationships through a psychological lens. It is November 30th, 2025, and I'm Joshua Slocum, and I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. I had my good friend Holly over, and we made the traditional spread. Here is in situ picture of me prepping cat pie. And here are the two kitties after turkey dinner. Obviously, I did not bake them, although they would have looked very cute inside a pastry crust with their little peepers coming out. So that means this week's show is leftover casserole. I mostly collected bits and bobs of disconnected bullshit to be disaffected about for your post-holiday delectation. But in the second part of the show, we're going to talk about how anorexia is back in vogue, except this time it's got a pharmaceutical assist and a new brand name so that we can all pretend that it's not anorexia. And finally, in the last part of the show, I want you to get your notebooks and pens out. I'm going to teach you how to spot histrionic personality disorder in the wild with examples from movies and real life. But let's start the leftover casserole with Erica Kirk. As you can see, I'm on a tour on the show to make myself even more popular. The Stepford Wives weirdness of Erica Kirk continues. Yes, we're going there, and we'll stay there as long as I feel like staying there. And I'm still being told, of course, when I mention any of this, that I am abusing women, abusing widows like Mrs. Kirk for noticing her plastic 2025 version of Tammy Faye Baker. But you know what? Other people who are not crazy Josh Slocum are starting to notice it too. So, they're all hysterical too, and they all hate widows, including the women. They're all bad. Take a gander at this recent video.
About heaven, I make it really exciting. I tell her, Daddy had so much fun today. Everyone who has written letters and sent gifts to my children, thank you. I tell her, my son, he's only 1.5 years, but I tell both of them, Daddy is telling all of his friends to send you gifts and letters, and Daddy is orchestrating from heaven to make sure that you always feel so loved. And the other day she was like, tell me about Daddy's day in heaven. So we talk about that at night. And then sometimes I'll say, well, tell me what you think he did in heaven today. And I just try to make it exciting, because heaven's our home. So I just want her to know that Daddy is having so much fun and building a place for her and our family in heaven.
We talk about heaven. We have so much fun in heaven. Heaven's our home. We make it so exciting. Daddy had so much fun in heaven today. It's just weird. It's squirm-inducing. And it looks like she's shopping and hand modeling for QVC jewelry. I don't know what I'd tell my kids if I had kids, if this happened to me. I don't know what the hell I would do. And I'm awfully glad I'm not in her place, and I do not envy Erica Kirk. But I can tell you what I know I would not do. And no, it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm not necessarily a believer. It had nothing to do with being religious or being not religious. That is not the criterion. I would not make it sound like Daddy went on the funnest, longest trip ever so that he could orchestrate you getting mail and presents. I would not say that. But what do I know? I'm just a misogynist who thinks that leather hot pants and drag queen makeup are in poor taste. What else would you expect from a widow abuser like me? Also in women this week, let's meet somebody who calls herself Mrs. Frazzled on social media. She appears to be about 29 years old, and she is the living embodiment of the Quark Chungus girl meme, as shown on your screen, with her man-child boyfriend. So who is it that I'm talking about? Well, here she is on Twitter. This is Mrs. Frazzled. See how cute and friendly? Mrs. Frazzled is not one of the pretty girls, so she's decided to become one of the feminist, self-victim creating, snarky bitch hall monitor girls. Here's a sample of her output. Um, she puts up a picture of Zohran Mamdani, the new socialist Muslim mayor of New York, standing in the Oval Office next to President Trump as President Trump looks up at him and smiles. And she writes, "That's how I would look at him too." Yeah, we know. You're one of those girls. You got soaked between the legs contemplating psychopathic socialists. There's a lot of you out there, hybristophiles, all of you. She has fantasies about bad men taking her and going all the way. As they all do. Yes, they all do. They love a good murder or rape fantasy. What the hell do you think The Handmaid's Tale is? It's feminist porn. They just won't admit it.
Is everybody freeze? Aunt Kim, take a big deep breath with me, okay? Smell the flowers. Blow out the candles. There it is. See? Nobody is taking your Trump away. You can have Trump time on the iPad after dinner, but we're just going to chat for a couple minutes. Got it. We don't feel that way about the grown-ups that we elect, friend. Take a look at all the things you have with his name on them. Can we count together? 1, 2, boop, boop, catch a bubble. Nope, I know you saw something on Facebook, but those are just stories. The left does not hate America, friend. They want you to have health care. Okay, let's think in our brains. If you believe every American institution is evil, are you sure you love America? Oh, we don't have to talk about socialism again. I know that is way too scary for you right now. Well, Nextdoor also told you that your HOA was going to force everyone to speak Spanish. And was that true? No. Okay, well, we're going to be all done with the terrorist word or Trump time is not going to happen. Capiche? Macaroni cheese, everybody freeze.
Okay. Yeah, okay, great. We got the volume down. I'm sorry about that, folks. I was going to introduce it to you, but we hit the video first. Sorry, backtracking in front of you. This was titled Gentle Parenting Your Trumplican Aunt at Thanksgiving. Yes, that's right. Trumplican. This woman's claim to fame is having the most annoying, prematurely aged, bitter matron affect in a sing-song kindergarten voice. That's her whole shtick. She does this on everything. This is a woman who went sour before she even got old enough to hit the wall, and there's a lot of that these days. So she got herself buckets of attention this week with this psycho, sickening, sweet set piece, and that's just one bit of it. There's the Trumplican aunt and the transphobic uncle that she also has to gentle parent. Oh, and you know they say it that way. Gentle, gotta put a glottal stop. So that's not a one-off. That's not just a one-off from her. That's almost all of her videos. That is her shtick. This is how she talks to adults, like a little kindergarten teacher who shows you how to use your inside voice. Ugh. I regret all of the times I've spoken out against violence against women. That's a joke, but there's a part of this that's not a joke. There are way too many women like this in our lives and in public today. They used to be bit movie characters that everybody hated, like Rosemary Ackerman.
Morning, Miss Sutton.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Soppy. You know, you boys work so hard for the environment, I thought I'd bring you something. A little drink never hurt anybody.
Thank you, ma'am. Damn, that's good stuff. You believe that goddamn litter bugger?
Oh, I have told her and told her. It takes 90 to 100 years for a tin can to decompose, and she still won't recycle.
Cost the taxpayers millions of dollars last year, but she don't care nothing about the national budget.
I hate Mrs. Ackerman.
I hate her, too.
I hate her guts. You know, somebody ought to kill her.
Yeah. Give her a happy face. Then recycle her.
For the sake of this planet, somebody just might.
Tee-hee. I'm telling you, John Waters was a prophet. The stuff that he made fun of in his movies from 45 years ago, 35 years ago, these people were bit characters. We all knew them. We all knew a Rosemary Ackerman. We all knew a Beverly Sutphin, or a version of it. But we knew one of them. There was one in your town, or there was one in your school, one at the PTA. It's not one anymore. These women are everywhere. They're not universally loathed anymore. They're held up for admiration. They run your company's HR department. They peck at you online for being not nice. Well, here's the thing. This won't go on forever, ladies. Eventually, sane women, and there are a lot of them out there who are objecting to this bullshit. You guys are making it embarrassing to be a woman. Sane women and men who refined their testicles are indeed going to put these little girl bitches back in their place. And they're going to be a lot more misogynistic about it than some middle-aged queen with a podcast and a sharp tongue. They might use actual force, unlike men like me. Are you ready for more mommy tone? Oh, Josh, it's just a few people. You exaggerate. No, it isn't. This is the normative, expected social media woman presentation these days. Roll it.
Okay, they had almond or coconut. What? What's wrong? No, what is here? Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, I'm listening. Take a breath. Ready? Okay. You're trans, and you want to use he, him pronouns. Of course, baby. Oh, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, baby.
I know it's scary. No, you don't have to tell them. I won't tell anyone until you're ready, and when you do, I will be there to support you. So you prefer a different name? What? Oh my God, that suits you so much. I love it. I love it. Of course I will. I love you so much.
Our little secret. I'm sorry, but what is that? What is that? Come back to me, Kevin. Put me back on the screen. Did you even get my orgasm imitation? Oh my God. Guys, you know that isn't normal. You know that's embarrassing. How did this become not embarrassing for grown-up women? All right. Now let's move on to a borderline bonanza in Nashville, Tennessee. This chick is the best demonstration of female borderline personality and the associated psychopathy that I've seen in a really long time. She is every stereotype, and she's self-diagnosing. I hasten to point out that she is the normal woman in leftist politics. She's the normal one, not the outlier, normal in leftist politics. Democrats think this behavior is great. They think it's righteous. And if they don't, they're sure as shit not saying anything about it. I don't see a single Democrat coming out against this behavior we're going to see in this. So I don't want to hear about the silent fucking majority. Stop being silent if you want to be taken seriously. This woman's name, improbably, is Afton Behn, AFTYN BEHN. Miss Behn is already an elected representative from Tennessee, representing a district that includes Nashville. I believe it's Tennessee District 7. She's running again. Oh, and of course, she is a social worker by profession. Let's listen to a minute and a half. You're going to see a picture of her, and there's audio underneath it. Let's listen to a minute and a half of her describing her dreams as she relates them to her therapist.
My therapist always asks me to transcribe my dreams when they happen. And the recurring dream I've had is standing up in a cafeteria full of women, I don't know why I was there or whatever, and saying, I don't want children, I want power, and just screaming it at the top of my lungs. And for someone who grew up with my mother telling me never have kids because you'll have to give up a lot. You'll have to sacrifice professionally, which is what she was saying. And where I am now with seeing the consequences and the ramifications of women having kids and being in the political field and what they're able to achieve, because we don't offer, it's like the political field hasn't met the challenge of working moms. They really haven't. But also the deeply patriarchal structures that these women are involved with because they've chosen marriage and they've chosen to raise children. And I think in the South it's incredibly difficult to shake those, especially if you've grown up here and that's all you've been told is the definition of success. The metric of success is how many kids you have, the bigger the square footage of your house, and where your kids go to school.
Okay. I don't want kids. I want power. That says it all. That's the entire thing right there in one short sentence. So she grew up with a mother who told her not to have kids because she'd have to give up a lot and she'd have to sacrifice professionally. This is where borderline personality disorder comes from. You just heard why Afton Bain is the woman that she is. This is where hating children and hating all that is good and wholesome, that's where it comes from. There's no mystery to why she's the way she is. I hated children as an adult and said so, just like this woman, for most of my adult life. What changed? Why do I not say that anymore? I woke up to what cluster B was. I woke up to it in reality. I woke up to the fact that my mother had trained me in cluster B her entire life, and that she was a bad person with poison ideas about family and children and the world, and that my mother hated her children, not because we were bad, but because she was bad. When I stopped hating myself as much as I did, I stopped hating children too. Really, I'm not making it up. It really did happen at the same time. I noticed it and I said, wow, that explains some stuff, doesn't it, Josh? And then I started to love children. Even though I'm not going to have any of my own, because no, I'm not father material. No, I can't give them what they need and deserve, but I care about their welfare because I know what happens to them when they don't get normal. I live it. Miss Bain got herself into a spot of borderline trouble this week. This chick she's the character I would have written to illustrate borderline personality disorder. She's that textbook. For some reason that doesn't matter and doesn't change the context of her behavior, there's no context that makes this okay, Miss Bain decided to barge into Tennessee Governor Bill Lee's office when she had been told not to go in, and we have the results of this on video. They're dragging her out, screaming and kicking. They're dragging her hench bitch out too. Are you okay? Are you okay? Oh, she's on the floor like she'd been hit and thrown to the floor. Melodramatic plot. Look how those big burly policemen are simply ignoring these broads. I love it. Just ignoring them. They don't care. They don't give one single fuck.
Y'all should be ashamed.
You should be ashamed. Are you okay? No. Oh, not crying now, are you? Oh, so sad and tragic. Let me get my phone out. Let me film my crying. So her henchwoman, that's so unnecessary, she says to the cops who dragged her out of there. That's so unnecessary. Is that all you got, Becky? All you got is just that so unnecessary? Pretty weak. How does it feel to be an impotent scold whose whining won't make those men stop enforcing the rules. Do you like that, Becky? Because you're going to get a lot more of it. And did you hear it? We're just women. We're just women. You see it. I know you do. That's it right there. We're just women. We're just women. That's right. You're just women. You're not queens. You're not boss babes. You're just ordinary women. You're not in charge. You're not even grown up. You mouthy broads are going to get put in your place more. Expect it. All right. We are coming up on a break here, but come back and we are going to talk about how anorexia nervosa is back, baby. Hey, put down that bag of Pringles, put down those crisps, and reach for a bag of what? Biltong. What is biltong? Delicious cured meat. Biltong is the South African word and the South African way of curing very high quality, thinly sliced meat with vinegar and spices. The stuff is delicious. Most Americans, the closest thing you've ever had to it was a really good homemade beef jerky, but this is not jerky. It's not ground up. It's not pressed together. It's actual slices of high quality beef. And if you're feeling adventurous, things like kangaroo. That's right. You can get that too at the home of our sponsor, BiltongUSA.com. Check them out. They've got everything from mild to spicy, fatty to lean, and a nice sideline in imported European groceries. I got a bag of biltong. I always have a bag of biltong next to me when I'm writing this show. And often while I'm eating it, I'm not going to show it to you on camera this week, but it's sitting right here. And if you haven't tried it, I would love you to try it. Be sure to use promo code JOSH to get 10% off your order. In 1983, I was sitting at the breakfast table eating my Raisin Bran with KTLA on the television, and the perfectly made-up anchorwoman said, pop singer Karen Carpenter died this morning from complications of anorexia nervosa. It was one of those bright, sunny Southern California mornings, and there's something jarring about hearing awful news in a chipper tone of voice when the sun's out and a new day is just beginning. And, you know, how old was I? 6, 8, 9 years old. I was sad to hear about Karen's death, but I thought of her just as that nice lady with the prettiest voice in the world who sang the Sesame Street song, you know, sing, sing a song. It wasn't until many years later that I felt a deeper sadness when I thought about Karen Carpenter's death at age 33. I became a super fan later in life. She had a voice from God that comes along once in a century, if we're lucky. And everyone had watched her slowly kill herself live on television for years. Like most deeply troubled people, Karen Carpenter denied that anything was wrong with her, even as she sat under the interview lights as a skeleton in a sweater. We're seeing the same thing today with our deracinated stars. But unlike in the early 1980s, grown-up Americans today in 2025 seem to think that what we're seeing is normal and unremarkable, maybe even empowered. Back in 1981, after a years-long hiatus, Richard and Karen Carpenter started speaking to the press again. And I have a couple of clips from you from an interview they did with British television in 1981.
Well, Karen and Richard, that's the first we've heard from you in 3 years. It's the first time you've sung together live now in 5 years. Why? Where have you been? What's been happening?
Well, we decided to take a small vacation. take some time off.
A small, but it's been a huge vacation. I mean, the fans actually want to know where you've been. I mean, what happened?
Oh, well, we took a little over a year off because the last album before Made in America was Christmas Portrait, which came out
78?
In 78, last part.
Yes, but as we're saying, you haven't actually sung together live for 5 years.
Well, not in this country, but in the United States we have.
But it did seem that there was something of a rift around about 75, 76. I think you were ill, weren't you, Karen? I mean, what happened?
That was 75. I was just pooped.
Okay. I guess we may as well roll into the next one where she addresses this head on. Pay careful attention. Watch Karen's face as she responds to this.
I was just pooped. When you've been on the road for all those years without stopping.
There were rumours, though, that you were suffering from the Slimmer's disease, from anorexia nervosa. Was that right?
No, I was just pooped.
But you
I
did
was
go
tired
down,
out.
You went down to about 6 stone in weight, I think, didn't you?
I have no idea what 6 stone in weight is.
66 pounds, it's very difficult to work out. I think about 84 pounds or
No.
something like that. No?
No.
But were you at all estranged during that time, you two? I mean, did you actually, I mean, people would quite understand, were you bored with working together? I mean, you'd been together for 9 years.
Oh, no, not at all.
No.
The thing is, with the breakneck schedule we were keeping, it started to tire us out after a while. And to me, you have to be up and really want to go into the studio. Because if you start to get tired, it shows in your music.
Sure. Right.
So really, the longest period we did take off was a little over a year.
Yeah.
Of
but tremendous, a very peculiar.
That went on a little bit longer. Sorry, folks, I didn't mark the out point correctly in that one. But what I wanted you to see was her reaction to the question about whether she was suffering from anorexia. And she says no as she rolls her eyes and sits there inside a face that looks like a moving skull. It's all jagged planes under almost translucent skin. Right there, big as life. 2 years after that interview, Karen Carpenter died on the floor of her mother's upstairs closet in Downey, California, before she made it down for breakfast. Despite having recently been treated for anorexia and gaining back a moderate amount of weight, the long-term damage that she did to her heart and her organs made them unable to keep up. They found when they did her autopsy that despite her treatment, she was still abusing syrup of ipecac, which is an emetic. You drink it and it makes you puke. And everyone knew that this was going to kill her. Everyone talked about what was wrong with Karen Carpenter. You guys, if you're young, if you're younger than 45 years old, you may not even remember the Carpenters at all, but they were the biggest act of the 1970s. I mean, just this, talking about Karen Carpenter and watching her waste away was common conversation. Viral before viral was a thing. Most adults in that era they'd looked at the 60s model Twiggy, for example, also obviously suffering from anorexia. She became a top model in the 60s, and people looked at that with skepticism and were like, that just does not look healthy. Everyone knew women on TV and in the public eye or at the office who dieted a little bit too hard. But America had never seen anything as extreme as what happened to Karen Carpenter. There was no looking away. There was no way to deny it. Karen, in that period, also stood up on stage with Ella Fitzgerald for a TV special, and she was barely able to stand up. And if she weighed 90 pounds, I will eat my hat. That voice was almost, but not quite enough to distract from the grotesque reality that you could see with your eyes. Do we even notice today when our stars are killing themselves in front of the camera? We are entering our Ozemporexia Nervosa era. As usual, few people are saying out loud what everyone knows is true. People with troubled minds and troubled relationships to substances, including food, are taking drugs to cover over or to enhance an eating disorder. The semaglutide injectable diabetes drugs work in part by chemically controlling your appetite, your sense of being sated, So the primary reason, of course, that these diabetes drugs are now prescribed today is weight loss. If you've turned on a computing device of any sort, or if you've walked into a store within the past few months, you cannot help but have noticed the oversaturation of advertisements for the movie Wicked for Good, starring Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. This is the sequel movie to the first movie, Wicked, which was based on Gregory Maguire's 1995 novel, Wicked. That book, incidentally, kicked off the modern moral inversion in entertainment, where the evil and the sinister, the villainous, are recast as misunderstood, traumatized little ooh-woo creatures who are actually the heroes. It gave us a sympathetic Cruella de Vil, a morally righteous psychopath named Dexter, and basically every single character on every single show and in every single movie who does anything bad for the past 25 years. They are a sympathetic villain who's actually the hero. So it's no surprise that an actress as self-absorbed and sharp-edged as Cynthia Erivo would find herself in the title role of the movie Wicked. Erivo has been transforming herself into a 21st century female Nosferatu. You think this is just because she's in costume for the character? No, this is the way the woman presents herself to the world in what passes for real life in her world. And she, like Ariana Grande, is wasting away before the cameras. Her cheekbones could cut steel. Look at her. That's not just makeup. Yes, there is makeup enhancing it, but it's not just makeup. And she's affixed 6-inch-long acrylic rapiers to her fingertips. Naturally, as it's the 2020s, this won her the role of Jesus in the musical Jesus Christ Superstar. Feast your eyes on that. Swear to God, I see it in jittery black and white 16 frames a second. But it's Cynthia Erivo's jarring relationship with fellow self-starver Ariana Grande that really draws your attention to the warped mental dynamic that abides in the minds of too many young female stars. Not even that young either. So pop princess Ariana Grande is on the edge of physical collapse. She does not have 1 more pound to spare before she's going to be facing tube feeding. Look at her. And no, this is not just the result of aging, as fans online are want to say. What we are seeing is anorexia nervosa not getting 10 years older. They said that about this next comparison. Can we put that up, Kevin? This is a picture of Ariana Grande from 10 years ago versus today. The change is obvious, and it has nothing to do with her looking older. She's still a young woman at 32. She's a young looking 32 as well. But you can see the change. Look at the top of her shoulders on the right-hand picture. You can see the bone at the top of her shoulder there. You couldn't see it in the other ones. And of course, notice also the tattoos, which have been growing. She's got the full self-harming, borderline professional thing going on. So this former Disney actress turned to the pop charts and became a singer in the 2010s with a fresh face and a routine full of energy. And today she looks like she's barely clinging to life as she approaches a body weight that Karen Carpenter would have envied. And this is the fate of so many young female performers, especially as they age out of being teenagers and little girls. Again, she's 32 years old, although she acts as though she were 17. And you can't help but see a vampiric relationship between Cynthia Erivo and her co-star Ariana Grande. They appear together in public as if they were literally sewn together at the hip. In nearly every press junket for these Wicked movies, Cynthia Erivo sits there clicking her claws around Grande's neck and head, fiddling with her jewelry, trying to hold her hand, putting her arms around her in this creepily proprietary way. Or the two of them sit there in front of interviewers as if they were holding hands like they were waifs who'd just been rescued by grown-ups from an orphanage. Let's roll this montage.
You have been the light of the day. You are such a gift.
You brought such light into the room. Thank you very much.
Not the time, helicopter?
Popular. Can you believe that we're doing Popular today? It's going to be so great. That joy he wanted to infuse in every frame so that when you've experienced the film.
What are they?
On our hands?
We have for good on our hands.
Yes.
And they,
Now that's in,
we got them on opposite, so when we hold hands, they touch.
Very patient with me.
Likewise. I think we're both... Ooh, don't look at me like that. I feel like... I mean, you're such an incredibly generous... No. We're not gonna. We can't. We're not.
No, you get. Yeah, no.
We can't.
No, you're gonna do it.
We've cried 500 times today.
We've done it
today.
a lot. We've done
no,
today.
and honestly, this is
We've
PSA. So sorry, guys.
It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it.
I can't imagine.
A little bit of her softness, and she's got
her strength.
A little bit of my strength.
Yeah. Truthfully. Sure, something's bothering her. She's gonna fix something. I know.
Sorry.
She's getting the fixing itch
It's like
that
not-
Cynthia
it's not
Erivo
right.
gets.
It's not there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a shrink to see that these two are not mentally well. Big shock, right? It's Hollywood that we're talking about. But there's a reason why troubled people go to that troubled town. Hollywood is a graveyard for personalities, a graveyard of dysfunctional people. Neglected children, abused children, and exploited children run for the big city lights so that they can be beautiful and adored and finally good enough to be loved. That's why people go to Hollywood. And while there's no way to know whether Cynthia Erivo or Ariana Grande are actually taking drugs like Ozempic, the rumors are abounding for a reason. They're plausible and believable. Hell, all the stars are doing it. Oprah Winfrey, Amy Schumer, Elon Musk, Chelsea Handler, and the list goes on. Now, you can make a reasonable argument for using semaglutide drugs to help someone lose weight when that person's health is in serious jeopardy and other methods have not worked. Sometimes we go to extremes. Every patient has to run that calculation for him or herself while talking to a doctor. Although I can't in good conscience tell you to talk to your doctor these days because honestly, you shouldn't trust anything your doctor tells you. So I don't know where that leaves you. But I fear that we are seeing a repeat of the viral spread of anorexia that occurred in the 1970s and the 1980s when Karen Carpenter's case became public conversation. Except this time, it's got a pharmaceutical assist that will give it a normal brand name to what is just old-fashioned self-starvation. British researcher Gerald Russell first described bulimia nervosa in the 1970s. That's binge eating followed by purging, usually by vomiting, sometimes by using laxatives. So Gerald Russell described bulimia nervosa in an academic paper in the 1970s as a variant of anorexia that he was seeing in some of his eating disorder patients. He later said that he was alarmed and worried about his paper and believed that the spread of the terms in diagnostic language, that his article itself had caused bulimia to spread in the Western world. He was very upset about it. Now, Gerald Russell was obviously correct, though he can't be blamed for trying to help sufferers and trying to educate doctors about this. It's not like he intentionally did something wrong. Young women are especially vulnerable to trends and fads. They will do almost anything, including extremely dangerous things, to keep up with what their female friends are doing. If Becca manages to keep her figure by discreetly puking up her lunch, then why shouldn't Caitlyn do it? And it's not just young women. While I have no idea whether Michelle Obama, for example, is merely dieting, or if she's taking Ozempic or Wegovy or whatever the hell they're called, she has recently displayed an alarmingly rapid and unnecessary weight loss on a frame that didn't have anything to lose to begin with. Look at her posing for photographer Annie Leibovitz. At 61 years old, Michelle Obama is dressed in teenager-style distressed jeans and clingy, skin-bearing tops, showing off how her female curves are melting away. Put the next one up. Take a look at her face. Does that look like a happy or healthy woman to you? Looks like an angry man to me. What do you say? The problems that celebrities and that normal young women and some men and boys, usually the gay ones, the problems that they face about body image are not about a particular drug or a time-limited fashion trend or aesthetic. What we see today in Hollywood is not different from what we've always seen in the entertainment industry and among the kids and teens who consume it the most heavily. The problems begin at home. The homes that today no longer exist. Fatherlessness, divorce, and normalized, neglectful, hands-off parenting has left today's kids even more vulnerable to self-destruction than those of us who grew up in the 1980s. And if you're old enough to remember what that was like, you remember plenty of screwed up kids from plenty of screwed up families. We are the generation that started the conversation about latchkey kids. But it's worse today because we're pretending that what's going on is not wrong, that it's not unhealthy. And it's got brand names. It's got Riz, doesn't it? And besides, everyone's doing it. So how can it be wrong? In 1983, adults spoke about what happened to Karen Carpenter with alarm. And they said it out loud. It was on the cover of every magazine. What do we do? How can we protect our daughters from this? But today, in 2025, cool moms get tarted up along with their daughters in officially licensed wicked trademark outfits and stand in line for tickets to watch these actresses perform fun while their minds and bodies decay right in front of us. Isn't modernity wonderful? Come back after the break. We're going to do another Cluster B basics like we did with borderline personality about a month and a half ago. I'm going to show you how to spot histrionic personality disorder in the wild, the kind worse than mine. See you on the other side. If you need somebody to talk to who won't tell you that you're crazy or a fascist or that you've always hated your parents and you've always hated all minorities simply because you noticed some bad behavior, maybe you should book some time to talk with me. I offer 1-hour video or phone coaching and consulting sessions, and most of my clients have questions about someone in their orbit, someone in their family, at their church who appears to have a personality disorder, but not everybody. And you don't have to be certain about that to have a good conversation. You also don't have to have a specific time-bound problem, although I do get requests for help with those. You can book time to just talk if you need a sounding board with someone who's not going to accuse you of losing your mind because you object to bad behavior and you object to the leftist moron behavior that's going on all around us. I'm not going to tell you. Let's talk about histrionic personality disorder. This is another video entry in our Cluster B Basics series. We did one about a month or two ago called What is Borderline Personality Disorder? It's about 25 minutes long. Went over really well. People really appreciated it. If you hadn't seen it, I think it's a great, concise introduction to spotting borderline personality disorder. And it's on our Rumble. It's on our YouTube. It's on audio. So let's do a quick recap of what the Cluster B personality disorders are. There are 3 clusters, A, B, and C. We're concerned only with Cluster B, which is called the dramatic and erratic cluster of personality disorders. And there are ostensibly 4 different Cluster B personality disorders. Don't be misled. Real humans usually have a mix of traits from more than one of the, quote, other Cluster B personality disorders. I don't actually believe these disorders are siloed and discrete the way the classification system makes them appear. I think that they're mushy and malleable. But for working purposes, these are the 4 Cluster B personality disorders. Number 1, borderline. These people are obsessed with fears of being abandoned. They're emotionally unstable to a wild degree. They're prone to vacillating from rage to elation and depression, often acting out tantrums in public and in private family relationships. Number 2, Narcissistic personality disorder. These people are apparently full of themselves with really outsized self-esteem. In reality, they really have very small or non-existent self-worth, and they cover this over by being grandiose or by creating themselves as a victim of other people. And it's important to remember as we go through this, all of the cluster B disorders, not just narcissistic, but all of them have highly elevated narcissistic traits. So narcissism binds all four together, not just narcissistic PD itself. Next up, we have histrionic personality disorder. This is literally from the Greek word histrios, like an actor. Histrionics have wildly vacillating emotions like borderlines. They want to be the center of attention, and their emotional states often strike observers as flighty, shallow, lightly held, but not entirely fake either. They can go from tears to hysterical laughter on a dime. Histrionic PD or histrionic presentation is very common cluster B expression in gay men. So think of Nathan Lane's character in The Birdcage like this.
I'm hideous. Tired means old. You look tired means you look old. That's all I am to you, isn't it? A meal ticket. Don't use that tone to me. Who is he? Where's your little chippy? Oh, well, this is impossible. Why can't we go home? Go away. I hate you. Here, fill my pulse. Am I all right? Oh, God, I pierced the toes. Get A, right. That's all over now. Look at me.
So it's exaggerated a little, but only a little. It's not that far off from reality, is it? With women, it often takes the form of extreme sexual provocation and acting out. Madonna's a great example. You may remember this from many decades ago on the David Letterman show.
My dress?
Oh, yeah, I would like to dress up. Very nice, very nice. I tell you what, we are going to do a commercial, and we're going to wash her mouth out with soap.
My underwear.
And then we'll be right back.
Yes, and then he's going to smell my underwear. Finally, number 4 of the cluster Bs is antisocial personality disorder. You know this by the colloquial terms sociopath or psychopath. The antisocial lives parasitically off other people. He's lazy, manipulative, conscience-free, exploitative, and has about zero actual empathy for other humans. All cluster Bs have impaired empathy, just like all cluster Bs have high narcissism. They all have impaired empathy. And all cluster B, well, I already said that, so don't let me repeat myself. But the antisocials are the far end of that extreme, which is already extreme compared to normal range people. So we might say contextually, relative to cluster B disorders, we might say some are more extreme or less extreme. But when you get to the place where you can be said to have a cluster B disorder at all, by definition, you are already extreme. So then we're going to move on and talk about the extremist. Histrionic personality disorder doesn't get mentioned as much as the other three, but the behavior is all around us. People often ask me how to spot histrionic PD. And, you know, I'm honestly not sure. I'm not sure if I really buy into the idea that there is a separate standalone disease at all called histrionic personality disorder. It is so close to borderline personality disorder that I really strongly suspect that it's just a shade of the same thing. But let's talk about it as if it existed. It's not hard to see a histrionic, and you're going to see this in the video I'm going to play in a couple minutes of an obviously gay man flipping the fuck out with an apparent stress meltdown that he decided to use for social media attention. As with all of the personality disorders, what separates people with what we say they have traits of the disorder from those that we would call fully diagnosable personality disorder cases, what separates them is the severity and the frequency of the behavior. Almost all of what we call personality disorder traits are actually just human being psychological traits, with a few exceptions. Just as an ordinarily stable person can experience a bout of depression without having to be diagnosed with major depressive disorder, a normal range person can spin out on occasion and go into histrionics. This is part of our heritage as humans. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to tease apart the concept of a disorder and a personality style. I have a histrionic personality style that is distinct from disorder. Style and disorder are different. Even if you think I have a disorder, the concept is real. Every human, including you who's listening to me right now, you have a personality style. In my youth, I probably qualified for a borderline and or histrionic personality diagnosis. Given what appears to be my inborn temperament, along with a very abusive childhood, when I went bad in the histrionic direction. I don't qualify for a personality disorder today, but I still have a histrionic personality style, which is clear to anyone who watches me or who reads me. As with most traits, there are pros and cons to being this kind of person. The cons include being too intense and, frankly, too irritating for some people. I recognize that. I'm not to everyone's taste. The pros can include being entertaining and amusing, and I try to meld my histrionics with teaching people something of actual substance. My working hypothesis on where histrionic personality comes from is similar to what people think of in terms of where does cluster B come from at all. I think that people like that, people like me, become that way because of abusive and neglectful parenting. An abused child becomes a histrionic because he learns that in order to get his most basic needs met, they might be physical needs for food or they might be emotional needs from a parent. In order to get the most basic needs met, he has to scream, literally scream. When people in a normal family could talk and ask, the child in the cluster B household has to scream until he can't be ignored. The self-involved abusive parent doesn't give the normal physical and emotional attention to her children. So the child learns that he has to yell and scream as if he were being murdered just to get mom to take his everyday problems and needs seriously. He's got to perform like an actor. He becomes a caricature. This guy I'm going to show you appears to be the closest thing to a full-blown histrionic personality disorder case that you could find. Can I know that for sure? Nope. But I can know this, and you can know it too, and you do know it as you watch this. You don't need a degree, you don't need a doctor's license to see it. Normal range people do not behave this way, and they do not film themselves behaving this way, even on a bad day under stress. This behavior is something that only a cluster B would do.
Everything's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's okay.
Okay, that fits the classic definition. Would context change it? Maybe. If this guy were known, for example, for doing this kind of impression as a comedy bit, I wouldn't be saying these things, but I don't think he is. I think this is really like, look at me, give me attention. So that's my priors, and you know my priors. He's got extreme emotions that shift immediately on a dime. And I think you can see in that what I mean by emotions that seem glib, but not entirely fake. At the same time, it's a sort of strange liminal way. He is genuinely crying. There are tears coming out of his face. His eyes are bloodshot, but he can turn it on and off instantly for performance purposes. That's the strange gray area with people who are high in histrionic intensity. They seem to both mean it and not mean it at exactly the same time. They experience it, but they also perform it at the same time. If you've got any good examples, or you say, hey, does this seem like a histrionic personality to you or something else? Leave a comment below where you see this video. Give me as much detail as you can. And if there are any interesting ones, I'll comment on them next week. And it's that time. We have to say goodnight. But before we say goodnight, I would love to have you help us make this show. Do you get something, maybe even some histrionics that you enjoy out of Disaffected that you don't get anywhere else? Well, we depend on you to keep making the show. I would love to have you join us on Substack at disaffectedpod.substack.com and sign up as a paying subscriber. Or you can go over to subscribestar.com/disaffected and do exactly the same thing. If you don't want to subscribe, got enough subscriptions, one-offs are gratefully accepted. Go to disaffected.com and click on the link to support us. You can throw in $1, $2, $5, or $500, and you'll get a thank you from me. And finally, for you old-fashioned people out there, you want to send us some paper mail? Get out your address book and write this down. We're Disaffected Productions, 89 Main Street, Box 1027, Montpelier, Vermont, 05601. But I have one more thing to tell you, and I'm running Kevin ragged because I got out of order, and I'm sorry. Our live stream is coming back this upcoming Thursday, November 4th. Thursday, November 4th on Rumble only. We're going to have our live stream. We're doing it regularly now. I'm interacting with the audience right there in front of you. It's fantastic. We even have video calling capability. It's going to happen at 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, Thursday, November 4th. Thanks for watching and listening, and we will see you next week.